Hi, I'm Jayline. I'm a drum and bass producer and DJ from Basildon in Essex. I make music for Sound Bully Audio, Low Down Deep and Lined Up International. I'm here today to share with you some of my tips for making your very own drum and bass track. Welcome back. We are on to the next section now. So after we have got all of our samples in, we've got all of our levels turned down so everything's not in the red. Now what we're going to do is start to get all of our stuff in the correct level where you need it to be, and finding the correct level sometimes is down to using your eyes and your ears. The loudest element of your drum beat is usually your kick and your snare, but snare is usually the loudest thing in the whole drum loop. So if we make sure that our kick and our snare are kind of hitting around the same level, all of your other sounds will be below that in volume. So I'm going to open the mixer now. You can do that with Command and 2. And this brings up the mixer for all the channels that we have. So right now I know that this is my loop channel. So right now, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo the kick and the snares like that. So I know that they're the kicks and snares. I'm going to turn everything else completely down right now. Okay? So we want to get our kick and our snare sounding pretty much on the level with each other. But if you remember, we put more than one sample in for our kick and more than one for our snare as well. So as well as getting everything at the right level, you have to make sure that everything that you've got is also fitting together. So an equalizer, as I'm sure most of you know what it is, but those of you that don't know what an equalizer is, this is an equalizer. And how an equalizer works, it allows you to add or subtract amounts of different frequencies from a sound. So if I click on the analyzer, it will show me exactly where my sound is hitting. So number one, the one thing that I do know is your kick drums should live in the area between around about 100 to 80 hertz. Your snare is anywhere from like 180 to around about 300 hertz. So they should be separated. Your kick should be here between this bit and your snare should be over here. So this is a snare that's playing right now. I want to take out all the low end of this snare because that's where my kick is going to live. So I can just select that one there and move this along until it's just giving me what I need. Right, so yeah, we want to level out our kick and snares so they're hitting around about the same area. Which they are. These are hitting a minus 11 and 10. They're hitting a minus 10. Lovely jubbly. So our first kick that we've got here, I'm just going to solo this. And all this stuff down here is quite low for a kick. And that's quite high for a kick. So all I'm going to do is move. I'm going to turn this one on. And this is the roll off. I'm going to... Can you hear that kick tightening up? Let me loosen it off again. You can hear the tail on the end of the kick. So I'm just going to tighten that up to there. That's a really, really high-pitched kick. So as this is the fundamental and it hasn't got any accent on the top, like any noise or anything. There we go. So I'm just keeping in the amount of that I need. So this is going to give us the thud for our kick. The next layer of the kick I'm going to bring in now. And I believe it's too loud. against that one. So, because this is going to be our kick. So this might need to just move up a little bit because it's now hitting at -13. So if we just raise this up, so that kick is hitting at -10 again. So now we want to work into that. We're going to turn the EQ on for the second kick and see what this one's doing on the analyzer. So if you notice, this has got all of this noise where the other one didn't. So we're going to select the filter here like this. We're going to move it along like that, because all I want out of this kick really is that noise. Right, so yeah, I'm cutting off most of the low end from the last kick. If I just solo that in, look, you can hear the thickness come back. But if I take this other layer out, you're just getting that bit. So now we're creating a kick drum for ourselves. Let me just turn that up a little bit. Yeah. So there's a nice kick drum that we've got now. So now if we move on to the snare, we're going to turn this one on just to see where our snare's at. Right, this is the peak of this snare right here. All of this stuff down here, we don't need. It's just dead air. So I know that our snare's body is from here all the way to there. So once again, we're going to turn this end one on and move that all the way to there. If I solo that, that's that nice high pitched one. I like to roll the very, very high ends off of mostly everything as well. Just because you can't hear that, I can't hear that. Dogs can hear that. Maybe cats, I'm not sure what their range is, but I can't hear that. Rolling off your high ends on your samples around 15, 16, the sounds that don't need to have the air, like very high air on them, just cut it off. It doesn't need to be there. So if I show you what it sounds like with and without, can't even hear it, can you? You'll know when it's too much, because the sound will start changing. So just cut off what you don't need. Yeah, there we go. So there's one layer of our snare sounding good. Now that is hitting really high. So I want to bring this down now. So we're hitting... Okay. Okay, then our next layer. We're going to do the same thing. We'll get that EQ up. So we're going to whack the analyzer on this one, see where we're at. So it's a lot thicker, this snare. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this left side now up and down until it sounds right with the sound that I've already got there. Too much? Too much on this end. So I like that. That's a nice, tight, high-pitched snare. That's the snare with the body. That's the snare with a hit. Yeah? So we've got two snares sounding kind of nice together. See, now I'm noticing that the snare sounds like it's a bit louder than the kick, like on comparison. So I want to try and bring these levels back down. So they sound more level with each other, you know? go. So we've got kicks and snares sounding nice. Now, once we've got our kicks and snares where we want them, sounding good like that, don't think that they're going to stay there. They might change a little tiny bit when you bring in other sounds. But if you can just get them sounding nice together, you know that wherever you're going to put them, wherever you're going to put anything else, is going to come into it properly. So that's not enough. That's too much. So we want to find the perfect balance of where this drum loop is going to go underneath the kick and snare. So this is a bit where you use your ears. So remember, we have 2 loops as well. So you'll bring one in like this, bring the other one in as well. Now you're going to move these around a little bit. You never want your breaks hitting higher or louder than your kicks and snares. But there is something inside Logic that I absolutely adore, which I'll show you soon. It's called the adaptive limiter. And this will really, really, really help you get some of your sounds sounding where they need to be without having to push stuff really hard. Because samples all come at different volumes, different strengths and velocities. So it's all about working with what you've got, you know. So I'm going to get these where they need to be, kind of, still. It's all a play game as you go along. So again, let's open the EQ up. So we know that our kick is all the way over here. It's a big old kick. So it's hitting all this area here. So I know that that kick that's happening there doesn't necessarily need to be hitting there. So if you had a break that you've put in, like a sample like this, a drum loop, and it's got bass all the way over here as well, you're going to do the same thing as what we've done before. We are going to turn on the pass filter and move that up here so we know. You can see when it's too much and too little again. Sharpen that up like that as well. Look. Too much. And now I've just got rid of that little peak on the break. It's allowing my kick to pop through properly. And also, remember before I said that I like to take the top end off of some things? Well, where this has come out of a sample pack, you can tell that I've already previously EQ'd this. And you can tell where it's going to go all the way to the end, like you haven't got any noise to get rid of. So even if you did put this on the end and move it down, it's already cut off where it needs to be. So you will get samples in packs sometimes where things already sound nice or they're already processed. And then sometimes you're going to get things where they don't sound processed at all. If you can see that the kicks and snares are hitting like 10s and 13 and whatnot, and the break doesn't sound very loud, but it's hitting 11s still. So I'm going to put on the little thing that we talked about earlier, and it's in the dynamics section of your effects, and go to adaptive limiter and stereo. And what this allows you to do is set the input level of your sample, and it's also got like a little limiter on it. So if you've got a sound that's kind of like mostly the same level and then it does this mad thing, you can set the level to here, so when this mad thing happens, it just squashes it back down on the adaptive limiter. So now I've got an adaptive limiter on this first channel. Like this. You can tell, I can tell the input up and down. So now that just gives my sample a ceiling. So now it's hitting at -14. I'll probably turn it up a little bit and it'll sound stronger in my mix. Let's get the next loop leveled in with your drums now. So I've got that other loop here. So a lot of the times I like to just see if I can get the two loops sounding nice together and then get them in. But where we've got the one set against the kicks and snares, we want to keep them there now. So we're going to work this into them. Too much? Not enough. So you just start hearing that high end coming in where we're pushing the brake in. Get that EQ in again and see what's going on. So let's just get rid of the dead air for now, like so. Take some of that shine off because it's quite high. There we go. Because remember, we've got hi-hats to put in yet, and they're all in the high end as well. So now if we do the same thing with this break and whack in an adaptive limiter, and we can see. There we go. We've lost ourselves without moving anything and actually turning the volume up as well. We are low. So we've got our loops in, kicks in, snares in. Let's see what our hats and rides are doing now as well. So let's turn our EQ on for this first hat because we want to get this now sounding right in the mix. So straight away, what do? Get rid of all of that dead air. There we go. Get rid of that dead air on the top as well. Remember, just bring it over like just a little bit. You don't ever really want to go below 15. I try to stay anywhere between 15 and 16 on the top ends, just if I'm taking dead air off. If I want to EQ something lower, obviously I can go lower than that. Let's just go through and do each of these hats quickly. Do you hear that knocking bit? This low frequency here. It's quite thuddy, like it's quite strong. I want to get rid of that. So it sounds more like a delicate hi-hat. There you go. So we've got that hat EQ'd now. Right, sweet. So where these hi-hats are quite like, you can barely hear them in the mix. So I do like to put an adaptive limiter on a lot of things, just to make sure it's definitely getting through that zero. Because if you've got it turned down like this, that's not quite enough. Like if you're getting your samples up to the zero mark on this, it's pretty much normalizing your samples. But I'm not turning the volume up on the slider. It's just going up on here. If you notice, I can turn this up as much as I want. And if you check the level here, the green button, it's set there. I can turn this up. That's not going to go above there. Right, now this one here. Okay. So what I want to do is Same as usual with a hi-hat, just get rid of that low part. But where this one here I'm using for the snare, so it's kind of the splash on the snare. So what I want to do is grab all of them samples that I've got, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fade in on this one. So they now do this. So if I play them with a snare, gives that snare the extra little bit of a slide, you see. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. Right, okay. So the last thing that we had in the drum beats was the rides. So what we're going to do now is just get these rides in. See where they're sounding against our beat for now. And then okay. See, now I think maybe the rides are a bit too slow. I think they might need to be doubled up. So, you know, like I said, sometimes you'll put stuff into a beat and you'll think, it's not exactly how I want it. It's the right sound, but it's not how I want it. So just have a little fiddle about sometimes. There we go. Just put that there like that. Just want to double up that speed of that hat pattern. So all I've done is I halved the block and then doubled it up. And you'll hear the difference now. There we go. Let's check that analyzer on. So we don't need all of that stuff down the bottom. Move it till the sound changes, like I said. Let's take a bit of the top off because we've got hi-hats doing that. There we go. Honestly, the adaptive limiter in Logic is one of your most valuable tools, like seriously valuable tools. Right. See that? I just want to bring it up to, this allows you to just bring the input level up to where you need it. It really, really helps. See, I just want it poking it a little bit, just a little bit. So if I play that against it, too loud. Bring it down. I love rides, they're so subtle. So I'd pretty much say that we are at a point where we've got our hat sounding nice together. Yeah, we've got our snare sounding nice. With this. There we go. Now we've got a kick sounding nice. Got our loop sounding nice. I'd pretty much say you just made yourself a beat.